Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Let's do some sketchy shit. What up? How we doing today? Let's see who that is. Sergeant Grass. How you doing today, buddy? Go. Living a dream, but maybe a nightmare. Oh, that's fair. Whiskey in the world. That is also fair. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to use this to get me a rough straight edge. I'm going to start squaring up some cutting boards and get these ready to sand. I think what I want to do is just move this over about there. We'll see how that works. Over a little bit more. So today we're going to get these cutting boards cut up, squared up, all that. Bear with me. board 1. Am I working on it? Justin, we're getting some justice. We're working on getting these cutting boards that we made on, oh, I don't know what it was, Tuesday, I think. We're getting these all squared up so that way we can do the finish work on them. Believe it or not, there is a lot of work that goes into these. It should probably use my sled for this, but this one's pretty big. I'm going to use my sled. I don't know if it's square anymore, but we'll find out. Does it actually slide through? Hey, look at that. It slides through pretty good. All right. Bring that over to about there. Go. Nice, pretty cuts. All right. There's what we cut off of it. I guess the cutting board doesn't have to be perfectly square. I mean, there's nothing really that's going to matter on it. Be careful. Seem busy? Thanks, buddy. Always try to be careful. Trying to do a makeup day so we can get advanced on this a little bit. We missed out on Thursday, so. All right. Now, we're going to do the most difficult part. And that's the 45-degree bit. Here it is. And I usually go straight with a 45 because I think it looked nicer. But on this one, and I think it gives you a better handhold. Or no. I think on this one, we're going to go with a 30 degree. Nah, I don't like the way that looks. You know what? Maybe we'll go with a 35. With a 35. All right. I think 35 looks pretty good. Since we got one that's super small, we'll do that one first. All right. So we want to do it on one side. And I don't want this to come more than about halfway up. We're going to eyeball it. So right about there. It'll be a little more than halfway, but I think, because it's a smaller board, I think we'll be okay. That's what we do with my boards. We do this little cut here. Gives you a place to grab it. This is a smaller board. This one we'll do at a 45. This one gives you a place to grab it. Now we got to make the two ends match. All right. That's my preferred board style. And this one, we're at about a 35-degree angle just because it's a smaller board. Like I said, the bigger board we'll do at a 45. Just because it's a heavier board and it'll give you more of that handhold. But the real pain is getting this stuff to line up. We want those corners to line up pretty closely. Give that a shot. Kind of sneak up on it. This is what happens if your board is not square, right? So we got that lines up really close, right? This one, you're just a hair off. Okay, so we fix that with some sanding, right? Do some creative sanding and everything works. We do have to fill that, though. I was hoping that knot hole would get cut out. So I'm going to pick that out and we're going to fill it with something. Because that's a non-used surface, I may just fill it with CA glue. What's up, CoPlay? How you doing, buddy? But there's our rough shape of our small version or small size cutting board. Yeah, it feels. Oh yeah, that 30 to 35-degree angle gives a nice grip. Yeah. So it's going to have feet, so it'll stick up a little higher, but you can get your hands in here. I don't do the whole routing out a notch or anything like that. All right. It's literally what the bevel is for. Plus, it's going to sit up off the countertop. You can get your hands underneath there. It's fine. All right. Now we're gonna do it on the bigger one. This one we're going to take to 45 degrees. And we go through this whole process again. Eyeball that. I think. We'll see how that one looks. Pretty good. I like that. It's a good height. Got a nice little bit of straight shape there. Let's try to get this lined up. Whittle through here. Start with that. it might actually work out. We lined up pretty good there. The other one needs some work, but we're not going to split the difference on this one. We're going to leave that one alone because we do round off the corners. So that does help blur that meeting point a little bit. So, but there we go. That's how we get some. That's how I make my cutting boards right there. That's it. Edge grain, cut a 45 in it, put some feet on the bottom and the corners. Do your engraving. Sand the living piss out of it, route the edges, make it nice and round, nice and smooth. That's it. There's really nothing much to it. They don't take long to make. It's not, you're not creating anything new. It's just a simple glue up. And yeah. So what we'll do is we will get the rough sand done. And then we'll get it down to 220. And then we will then we'll run the router around it. We'll get it into 180, run the router, and then we'll sand at 220. But all the sanding is going to do is make sure it's nice and flat, pretty. Get rid of any little ridges from the nicks in the miter and the blade on the let me get you guys here in a position where you can watch me sand for a bit. What's up, two dudes? Hey, Pedro, how you doing? What's up, Roy? Appreciate you guys. All right, so we are going to do some sanding. I know it is the absolute most glorious thing that you guys could possibly watch. I gotta sand. I can't not do it. To do so, we are going to set up our little Rockler dust collector thing. Not dust collector, dust hose thing to the shop vac. And I got this tied in a knot. There we go. And if you guys are interested in my paper, there's a link in the video description where you can get 10% off. Just saying. Serious Grit, brand I use. We're going to go to... We're going to start at 120 because this is a really smooth system. We don't have to start from 60 or 80 grit. So we're just going to jump right to 120. Ceramic paper, just like the other brand. All right, let's see if I can't figure out how to get this dust hose hooked up. I believe that'll fit right in there. Oh, it does fit in there. That is brilliant. Nice. I got the Rockler Dust Rate kit. Got the super awesome hose. Just clips in. Nice flexible hose. It extends out, but it also self-collapses. So I don't know if it'll stay extended out at some point. But we're going to start at 120. I'm going to run some lines over this just to see how it looks. I got the dust filter on. I got the shop vac going. Try to extend this hose out a little bit. No, but I guess it just auto collapses. That's fine. All right, guys. Until it's shopping season. Yeah. Hey, Carl Spellmeyer, how you doing, man? I appreciate you coming in. All right. So this will be my first time using this dust hose system, this dust right stuff from Rockler. So we're going to see. Hopefully it works out really well. I mean, it's a rubber fitting that attaches to this with a soft hose. I mean, I don't really see how it could not work out. Don't mess up your wood. You mean my wood? Hey, thanks. Also, hey, Steph. All right. So I'm going to fire this up. We're going to do a quick pass on the sand here. Like I said, I'm using my Serious Grip paper. We're starting off at 120. Hang on. I have to do something different. This hose is heavy as fuck. It's kind of pulling me down. It wants to collapse back down more than I want it to. So we're gonna try to get a. I'm gonna try to do that. Maybe I can get it to prop up there. So as I was sanding this, I realized this end has a couple of fine cracks in it on these pieces of cherry, and I was originally going to cut those off. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I may just leave them. Be done with it. You got a good nice sand. I don't see any pencil marks left after 2 passes. Let's do this side. This one might take an extra pass because I got a little bit of snipe here from the planer, but we'll see. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I get comments quite often about why do I sand so slow? And I sand slow because that way I don't have to sand a whole bunch. I can do one slow pass and get most of the material off that I want off. About an inch per second is all I really need to move. Lets the sandpaper do its job. About an inch per second lets the sandpaper do its job. And yeah, Billy, slow and steady. But you don't need to go fucking all crazy and stupid. Perfect forward. Thanks, Michael. What's up, HD? How you doing? This side's the ugly side. We're gonna do an engraving down here. Once they get to me and let me know. But this side is the working side. All right, so we got the 120 going. I don't see any pencil marks, which means, and I got full coverage, which means this one is good to go up to the next grit. But before we do that, we'll sand the sides or the end and the bevels, right? We'll do that first, obviously. But for now, we will switch to this one. We'll get the top and bottom sanded on this one, and then we'll move on. So the reason that you do pencil marks, and I just use a carpenter pencil, and you can see I have it laid down like this. I'm not going after it with the tip because I want to just create light wide marks. I don't want to dig into the grain. The reason you do that before sanding is it shows you if there's any really high spots or really low spots. And I like that shape. My belly shape, my muffin shape, or the cutting board shape? This shape. We will fill this. We'll do something with that. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I may just fill it with black CA glue and kind of highlight it instead of trying to hide it. Send you all my Cash App for the shout outs. The cutting thing, this, yeah. All right. Anyway, so you rub the pencil on to get a mark, and it'll highlight. You go over it once with the sander, nice even pass, and then you'll see like, all right, this area here it has pencil marks still. So you don't just focus and sand down there. You do the pencil again, and then you sand again until this area no longer has pencil marks left. Then the entire thing is about as flat as you're going to get it with a sander. Okay. Shout out Payments Good Steps in Kitchen. That's the idea behind using the pencil markings. All right. So we're going to get this sanded. This little board doesn't weigh as much. It was kind of walking around on me. This is not sticking very well anymore. I got to get new stuff. I don't see. So when I'm looking at the board, I'm looking for maybe a glue joint that has an opening in it, or something like that. don't know if I'll last long. Sorry, buddy. Apparently it lasts 10 times as long. Router? The plunge router? Nice. What up, Runic? How you doing, buddy? Also, hey, Roy, I don't know if I said hi to you. Some purple heart, make it into a Celtic love spoon? Awesome, buddy. Can't wait to see that. So I'm looking at it to see if I've uncovered any like an air bubble or something in a glue joint that needs to be filled, taken care of. And I'm also looking to see if I see any pencil marks and to make sure that the wood is universally sanded. It should all be one kind of tone, really. Shouldn't like this. You can see this is kind of shiny. If I have a shiny spot on here, then I know I didn't sand very well and I need to do it again. But I don't see anything. I don't see any flaws. Looks well sanded. No open glue joints. We're going to call that side good. We'll move on to the other side. Colder than a well digger's backside? Yeah. We are at about 46 degrees right now. One second. Okay, sorry about that. I had a phone call. I had to send text off. Road rage at the checkout line. Anyway, so I'm gonna get this sanded, and you guys talk amongst yourselves. And I just realized that I'm not even wearing an Elegant Woodcraft shirt today. One of my few shirts that doesn't have my brand on it. I want to get good coverage on the back here. A flag with the Pledge of Allegiance written out instead of stripes. Take 15 off. That's where we're at. You know what? I need a beverage. Here it is. Although, I got to say, the amount of dust that's in here is very minimal because it's all in the shop vac. So, no logo. No. Well, I got the logo. I got this logo here. It's the old logo. It doesn't even matter anymore. I got to get me some new logos. But I'm going to get this side, this flat sanded. There's some ridging here. I feel like it must have been something wrong with the planer blades in this section. They are probably due for shifting. So I'll be right with you guys. don't really see anything here. Although there's this kind of, I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's kind of a stripe right here. This goes straight down and across. It kind of bugs me, but I don't know if I can do anything about it. But there's the bottom. Now what I'll do is, because I have the maple and black walnut in here, I'll step it up to 150 and I'll do it again. But first we're going to, sand the edges, get those done. And I don't ever round anything off with the same, like I'll round these edges and I'll round these corners, round these corners, and these bevel edges. I'll round all that with sandpaper, kind of soften it. But I only ever do that with the 220 on the final sand when I'm doing my cutting boards. And then this top edge, I just take a router to it and round that off. And then I can usually match it on the corners. Sometimes I'll knock the corners off before I do the round over with the router so it looks more uniform, but I can usually do pretty good. So we flip this over, stick it off to the side of the table so I can get nice and flat there, and I can get that nice bevel. Hopefully this hose doesn't weigh me down too much and make me mess up. So bear with me for a few minutes. Billy has a sword cane. Nice. Oh my goodness, you guys had all kinds of... Hey, Gerald, how you doing, buddy? You guys had all kinds of conversation going on. All right, I'm going to sand this edges, and I'll be right with you. I think before I go too crazy on sanding this, we're going to fill this knot hole. I don't want it to get down to the point that it's ready for, or I don't want it to get fully sanded and then find out that I forgot this. And then I have to sand a bunch anyway. So I'm just going to scrape out all this loose stuff in here. I was really hoping this whole piece would have been cut off, but I guess it's a little bigger than I thought. There we go. That'll be all right. We'll get that filled in. I think I'll probably just use black. Make it a nice, welcome back. I could either use black or I could use clear. Clear CA glue acts kind of like a little window, so you could see, I don't know if you can see it in the light, but you could see that bit inside there. I could drill it out, cut a plug, put a plug in it, but I don't want to. I think I'm just going to CA glue it. Now, because it's not on a food surface, it's not going to matter. And I think we're going to start off with clear. See how I like it before it gets fully filled. If I don't like it, I'll switch over to black or brown. Kind of thinking black. Butcher block cutting board combo. You'd have to be a little more specific, Michael. You mean like a proper old school butcher block? Like a freestanding butcher block? This stuff is already extremely thick, and when it's from the freezer, it's very chilly. It's thick as well. So we do this in layers because it's a hole. With a step down cutting board together. I'm not sure that I understand what you mean. Do you mean like the platform butcher block? Finishing with Gilboys? No, my cutting boards, I only ever use my my own board butter. Not that Gilboys probably wouldn't work, but a nice smear on the edges. I think I'm going to stick with clear because I really like how it's looking. We're gonna smear it all over the edges, get a nice firm bite. Oh, I got what you mean. I have not, Michael. I have not, but I bet I could. Guess thick is the keyword. If I can keep the air bubbles out. Oh, I got a couple air bubbles in there. That's all right. It looks kind of like a window into the wood. Could be a money maker. I'm gonna have to look into it, Michael. I'll come up with some little ideas. Make sure I got good adherence to the edges here. I think I need another layer. But before I sand it, let's see if I can get you guys where you can actually see. Oop, falling over. I can't really get the light down in there. Now, it's before I sand it, obviously, but it looks kind of like a little window inside the wood. Oop. Now I got everything all for hoodled. Yeah, I'll look into that, Michael. Say 191. Nice. Told Will he's not allowed to use it. And I think I need just a small layer yet. I just want it a little bit proud. I don't want any low spots. Don't want any bubbles in it. Lay that up there. Get the glue put away. What's up, JR? How you doing, buddy? Kind of looks like the board has a boo-boo. What's up, Bridge? How you doing, man? Thank you guys for coming. Yeah, there's some times where I want to hide something like that. You know, most of the time we want to hide. We want to fill knots so that they're hidden. Nobody knows they were there. And then sometimes I enjoy highlighting them. Sometimes highlighting them is, I don't know, it just looks better sometimes. Not all the time. There are definitely times where it's not useful. This is one of those times where it doesn't really matter. Right? We got just like, if you guys could see inside of there, maybe I'll be able to figure out how to get you guys so you can see how I'm seeing it after I give it a sand. But if you could see it how I'm seeing it, it kind of looks like a nice deep red kind of little cave. What did I spray to get the bubbles out? Snicky, I just sprayed activator to harden it. Getting the bubbles out was me moving them around and trying to get the bubbles to pop. Now, some of them, because this is pretty deep, some of them I did not get out. There's bubbles on the inside. It looks kind of like the really small bubbles. It looks sort of like an aquarium bubbler or a little like, I don't know. All right, let's see. Is that solid? You got to be careful with CA glue. If you heat it up, it will melt. And just because you sprayed activator on it, when you're filling something, the activator hardens the outside. It doesn't harden the inside. Like, it's a chemical reaction. It takes place from the outside in. Character, yeah. You know, this hose is really nice that it self-collapses, but it'd be even better if it would stay open. So that's what we look like after we got a sand on it. You can see there's no real low spots. There's one tiny little shiny spot there. It's just barely down. But I think as I go over it with higher grits, I'll get rid of that. But if you push on it, I can feel that there's a little soft spot there, and I don't want to break through. So we'll leave that one for now. Oh, I got to do the edges on this big one. And I don't have any CA glue stuck to my paper, so we're good. We're good to go. Yeah, when you're trying to get rid of bubbles when you're using stuff like clear CA glue, just working the glue around, you can either get the bubbles to pop or at least rise to the surface. Some of them I didn't. Sometimes I don't want them to come out. Sometimes I want little tiny bubbles in there If it's like I have one project that I did was a really big knot hole, and I filled the entire thing with um, epoxy, clear epoxy, and then I didn't like how it looked, so I put a coat of just clear CA glue over it. But I wanted it to have air bubbles in it to kind of look like it looked kind of like a cave in an aquarium with some bubbles in it. It looked super cool. I really liked it. It wasn't sub to Bex or Steph. Hey JR, this is just hooked up to my shop vac. It's just a dust right, a Rockler dust right setup. It's got the little rubber attachments here, and then this blue hose. It was pretty good. I mean, it's doing really well. But hooking up to a shop vac, that filter does plug up really fast when you're sanding. So, all right, I'm gonna sand the edges on this one down to 120 since this paper is still damn near brand new. We're gonna keep going. All right. So let's. You know what? I think we'll just. I don't know why I unhooked that. We'll just blow this off. There we go. There's the two sister boards. I mean, obviously, we're gonna. Is Heavy Place playing with his wood? Yep. Obviously, we have more sanding to do, but I think I'll probably skip the 150. There's not a whole lot of sanding marks in the black walnut and maple. I don't see any saw marks on the edges and the ends. So I think we may just jump up to 150 and call it a day. Or not 150, 180. But I made two matching cutting boards, one slightly smaller than the other. But I need to get a drink because blowing that dust around, I got. Thanks, Billy. This is my loophole. I think I said it before. This was my loophole about not making two boards exactly the same. But this one's smaller. Can't be the same if it's smaller. But we'll still call them sister boards. But I need a drink, so we're going to take a few minutes here and just kind of hang out. We can give you guys a little. That's about how they'll look. About how they'll look right there. So for this dry corner. They got to look really nice. Really enjoying running that wood today. I am. Thanks, JR. Appreciate that. So we'll let those dry off, and I'll change out sandpaper. Get another drink. I bit my tongue. That hurt. Thanks, Bex. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Michael, I didn't forget about your flag case. I want to get the other one built so that I can take them both in and get new glass cut for both of them. Your flag case is down here underneath the table, covered up. Since I broke the last two pieces. Right out there in the yard, well, at the bottom of the stairs. No worries. I'm worried. I'm kind of thinking that tonight I may set the laser up to do one of my engraving tests and set the laptop up using the forward-facing camera and just let that stream run and see if anybody likes it. See if it does anything for the community. It'd be very quiet. I mean, you're just going to hear the laser going. That'd be about it. There wouldn't be any other noise in here because I won't be in here. Turn off most of the lights. You guys just see the blue flashing with enough light that you can actually see the picture that's going. What do you guys think? Think I'd be in a decent thinker? I mean, I don't know. Do you think people would have any interest in that? I'm sure somebody would watch it, but that's the kind of stupid shit that I would watch. I'm also not altogether there sometimes. So sometimes I like to watch really boring stuff. Only 45 more days. Ugh. Sounds like a plan. But I don't know if it'll do anything. We'll see if it gets a couple of likes and a couple of views. I will probably, because I won't be around to monitor the chat. I mean, I'll pop in and out of it. But because I won't be like out here to monitor chat, I'll probably set it to something like slow chat and members only or subscribers only for a ridiculous amount of time, like 10 minutes or something. 15 minutes a month. I don't know. All right. So I should still do the pencil marks. We're not quite dry yet. It still feels damp, so we're going to leave it sit for a minute. How's your logo going? You know what? Maybe that's what we'll engrave tonight. We'll give it a test. Your logo I want to put on a piece of cherry, but I'll test it on some 1/4-inch ply or something first. It'll engrave differently, but at least I'll be able to see how to look before I have to run it through the planer to thin it out. All right. We're dry enough. Let's go after it. Sand it some more. We're going to do 180. We're going to skip 150. Jump right to 180. Cherry is pretty soft, so it usually gives up pretty quickly. So let's give her hell. Oh, did pretty good getting rid of sanding marks. There's 180. Flip it. Say it again. What's up, Locke? Hey, Faraz, how you doing, buddy? We're just working on finishing up some cutting boards. It's a sister pair, I guess, the same color scheme. This one's just a little bit smaller. Thank you. Thank you. This one had a big knot hole here that didn't get cut off when I did my bevel. So we filled it with some clear CA glue to kind of highlight it, not to hide it. What language do I speak other than English? I speak sign language. That's not really speaking. I can do sign language. Some sign language I'm learning. I know my alphabet and I know a few other signs. What's up, Jesse? How you doing? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. What languages do you speak? Faraz? All right, I'm going to sand these with this. Was it 180? We're going to do the back sides here. And the twins have got to come up with something to engrave on here. I do speak fluent sarcasm. Farsi and English. Trying to learn a third one, which is Spanish. Nice. Nice. I don't remember. I know Farsi. Like I know of the language, but I don't remember who speaks Farsi. You have to forgive me. I can't place the thing one and thing two. Yeah. Thing one and thing two. Thing one I'll have to decide here. Thing two here. Hopefully they both match or they're no longer sister boards. Iran and Afghanistan. Oh, okay. Billy? What? Billy what? How you doing, Jesse? Appreciate you coming in. Unless your name is Billy. And then, hi, Billy. All right, I'm going to sand these real quick. It doesn't take very long. As you guys seen how long it took on the other side. So give me just a moment. we go. That's a nice sand. Next, we'll do the sides. I don't want to just sand continuously here. I don't want to really bore you guys that much, but speak fluid redneck. Oh, were you talking to that Billy? Now, with the 180 is where I will try to meet up any of these corners that don't quite meet up. You can already see, like, you can see this one doesn't meet up, but it's starting to look less noticeable. But I will, with the 180, I'll kind of sand that in and try to blend that corner together a little bit. Let's believe I will check in. So that's one of the things that I do when I get down towards the end of my sanding is I'll blend those corners. And the reason those corners don't all line up is because the boards weren't perfectly square. So things happen. It's not a big deal. All right. It's a cutting board. You're not using it to build a house or watches. But I don't want to just bore you guys with just constant sanding the whole time. So I'm going to take little breaks here. Plus, the vibrations on the hand are kind of annoying. So we'll take little periodic breaks, chat with you, and have a drink. What all you guys working on this weekend? Anything? Anything fun? The big key things to take care of on the edges, on both the bevels and the flats, is saw marks. You really want to make sure you get rid of any saw marks because they will stick out like a sore thumb, particularly on the end grain. They might not look that bad, but once you put a finish on, you will notice. You definitely will notice. Although it does kind of bother me that I use these pieces of cherry that have this like this little green tinge to them. But that is what it is. I should have swapped this piece with this end piece, so that way I had a full no green sapwood on there. Nah, Steph ain't lurking. She gives up. She just says that she's watching, but she's busy because she wants to go watch TV or something. She doesn't actually want to pay attention. Have to look for the orange can. Oh, yeah. Well, out of the 2 cases I got in there, I don't have a single orange one. But I'm due for a new stock up. So I'm sorry, the 1 case I have left in there. I'm due for a stock up, so maybe I'll get lucky on the next one. We can't find the orange can if we don't look for it. I'm here. Oh, she is here. Damn. I tried, Michael. Hey, hustling. Oh, that's why I had so much dust. I was trying to figure out why I had so much dust going on. I forgot to turn the vacuum on. Doesn't pull any dust if it's not on. I tried, Michael. I tried to get you some free time there without Chaos Twin 1. She caught us. She caught us, buddy. I think what I'm going to do after I get this side sanded is I'm going to do all my round over, my softening of the corners with the 180, and then we'll hit it again with the 220. I won't soften this edge except for with the 220. Ugh. Indiana pulled a huge comeback. Hey, KS Twins, did you guys come up with something you want engraved on these yet? I'd like to do the engraving tomorrow so I can put the feet on, or do the engraving tonight. But I'd like to get the engraving done so we can put the feet on it and put the finish on it. And then I'll drop them both off at Steph's house. And Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know how many people do this, but I don't ever soak my my cutting boards in mineral oil baths. And there's really just no point for it. I guess we're doing that tonight. I guess so. Steph, you gonna have some free time tonight? You and Bex can brainstorm? Or is it the one brain cell just automatically links up or syncs? Incredible touch now. Nice. I'll be honest, I kind of really like how this feels with just the 180. 220 is a little, I mean, 220 is smoother, don't get me wrong, but 220 is always higher I ever really go. Those are nice boards. Thanks, Jesse. Sometimes you have to verbalize it, and sometimes it syncs by itself. Well, I appreciate that, Jesse. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to sand the edges on this one, on the big one. Got to do all four. Make sure I don't have any saw marks on the end grain in particular. I think there might be. I can't tell if there's a saw mark here that I'm feeling, or if it's just the different densities of wood. Because the maple is a little harder than black walnut, so it sands slower. And I feel like it's just the maple sticking out a little bit. But I'm going to get this sanded real quick for you guys, and then I'm going to go through and knock down these corners a little bit, kind of blend those. And then we can switch to the 220 grit. All right, be right back. Sorry, we can switch to the router. So there's the rough end of the roundover. Oh, okay. So we got a nice curve here. Put a little rough end of a round over there. You don't have no sharp points on the top, right? So we'll run the router around the top of this. Just kind of breaking that edge. What up, Wes? How you doing, buddy? Yell loud if you need a twin. Right brain on one, left brain on the other. Have to switch cells. Switchboards when the cell jumped. Nice, Wes. I appreciate that, bud. So we got the sister boards here for anybody who's new. So they both are the same pattern. This one's a little smaller than that one. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take the router to the top edge on both sides or both boards. And then we're going to sand it with 220. We'll refine this shape. Okay. We will ease this angle and we'll ease this angle. So we'll ease this one a little bit and we'll ease this one with the 220. And we'll refine the curve on the tips or on the corners. But so far, so good. Look pretty sleek. One's more evil than the other. Yeah, right, Papa? How you doing, buddy? Plus, if Bex needs to smack somebody with a cutting board, I feel like the bigger one would be the one to do it with. She might need to club somebody. The little one, I don't know. It might break. Start beating somebody with it. I'm doing pretty good, Papa. We're slowly sanding. I'm trying to take breaks in between so I don't completely bore everybody who comes in. We got a little bit of chatting going on. But we got all the sanding done except for 220, which will be our final sand, and we got to do our route along the top edge. So, and we got 69 likes on my screen. Nice. We'll get rid of the 180. Listen, guys, if you want, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm excited. If you want to try the serious grit paper that I use, video description. All right. Get yourself 10% off. I actually just bought a fuck ton of paper this morning. I put in an order. So I enjoyed the 10% off. Grab my shot glass then. Hell yeah, Papa. Appreciate you, buddy. I want a shot glass from every state. And there's a few states that I don't have yet. I'm pretty sure I don't have any of New England. I think New York is about as high as I've gone up the state or up the country. You can get me a California as well. I think I have a California. You can get Mass too. I don't think I have a Mass. I'm going to have to make a list because now I've got so many that I can't remember which ones I don't have. Iowa and Nebraska. Hell yeah. Daughter lives in California. Steph, didn't you get me a California one? Shot glass? I was trying to do all the same like style of shot glass. And then I realized that not every state has the same style. So then I just kind of, whatever. A state is a state. Yeah, I think you did give me a California. I'm gonna have to go through my shot glass wall. I kind of want to just build a little USA kind of map, but instead of being solid, have like a little, each state is hollow, and I can put my shot glass in each state. Ideally, that'd be pretty cool. But in reality, what'll probably happen is I'll have a shelf with all 50 shot glasses on it. I got one from Hawaii, but I had to order that one because my happy ass is never going to Hawaii. I'm too poor for that. So I ordered that one online. Which was a ridiculous amount of money for a freaking shot glass. Right? Shot glass you can pick up like at any truck stop inside of a state for like $1 or $1 to $5, something like that. The door and shelving for the glasses? I might. I don't want to make it pretty. I don't ever use my state shot glasses. I mean, I have duplicates of a bunch of them. Not the same glass, but different kinds because I couldn't decide which one I liked. And so I may just, I'll use those, but the other ones I might build a little shelf. Oh, I got a 45 in here. That's not good. Can't use 45 for this. Excuse me. Oh, let me get my little baby round over bit. So we're going to go with an 1/8 inch round over. I think that is more than enough for a cutting board. Where'd I put my wrench for my... Oh, man. Oh, nuts. Where'd I put it? Always been up here on the shelf. Oh, there it is. Found it. It was behind something else. But I guess this one is just a 17 millimeter, so I could use, an actual wrench. Goodness, I really cranked that bad boy down. Oh, yeah. All right, put the 45 away. I am not doing a juice groove because, as we've discussed before, juice grooves are pointless. The only people who I know that want juice grooves are people who don't understand that they don't really do anything. Oh, that's cool, Michael. Do I have Florida? I don't know. I don't know if I have Florida or not. You know what would be super cool? If I get, you know what I should do? I should do I should get a globe. And then periodically ask people where they're at or where they're from or whatever, where they're watching from, and put a pin in the globe. Like one of those little pins that has like the ball on the end of it. Just put one of those in the globe. I think that'd be pretty cool. What do you think? Might be fun. A little novelty thing. Coin toss on certain days. I didn't say it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a test piece here. No, I don't like that. That has to come up a little bit. Well, go down a little bit. The base. All right, let's do this again. Excuse me. That is much more gooder. Like that. Spin that around. That is much more gooder. A lot of pins. I mean, I feel like we can, you know what? Maybe I'll do that. I'll order one of those big old globes that you have with like, they used to have in classrooms. I'll order one. And maybe starting January 1st, starting the new year, we'll run it for, I don't know, a couple of months, whatever. We'll see where we're at with people who watch the stream. What do you guys think? Run it for a little while, and then a while later, as the channel grows, we'll do another one, and kind of compare to which areas drop off and which areas pick up. See like how the global thing is. I'll get one ordered and I'll get a bunch of those tiny little pins. I think I can push a pin into a globe, right? It's only like a cardboard thing, right? We'll do it. I mean, what the hell? Why not? Put it off in the corner. Hang it from the ceiling, something. I don't know. A big world map on the wall. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would work too. But I don't know where to put a world map. My wall space is pretty well taken up. I guess I could do it with one of those roll-up things. Like little projector screens or whatever. Put a map on it. And then instead of using pins, just use like a marker or something. Put a dot. Make a false wall. Yeah, I could do that. I mean, I could just set up a... Oh, fuck. I don't know. A map probably would be easier, wouldn't it? Put on one of those like those dry erase things that you roll around, have the frame. Oh, you just push it off out of the way. Not a dry erase board because the pins won't go into a dry erase, but a big cork board. Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll get it figured out. I like the idea. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna do it here. We're gonna start it January 1st, whatever the first stream is after the new year. All right, so I need to go this way. All right. A nice gentle round over. We'll do this one. I like it. I like it a lot. And we'll grab the blowgun, get rid of those chips. All right. That right in there. Put the router bits away. We ain't doing nothing with those no more. All right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Michael. I like it. I like it. We're going to do it. Starting January 1st. Well, whenever the first stream is after that. All right, guys. I'm going to do a 220 sand. I'm going to do all my edge cleanup and everything. And then I think tomorrow we will assemble or sand and assemble the flag case. All right. Because next week I want to start on the Baker's Island. And I kind of want to end tonight's stream with enough time for me to go pick up the top. I have to go pick it up. I'm not going to make one. I'm just going to pick one up. So, bear with me. I'm going to do some 220 sanding, and I'll be right back. Chat amongst yourselves. Hey, GK, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. What's up, Terry? Right now we're just finishing up a couple of edge grain butcher block style cutting boards. So we've got a small one, right? It's about I don't know, inch and a quarter thick. We're going to do an engraving on the back side here. Right? My boards are all one-sided boards. This is the side you cut. That's the side you display. So we got a small one and a larger one with the same pattern. And this one's about 1 3/4 ish. I'd say 1 3/4. Yep, about 1/4 inch thicker than the other one. Same style. So we're doing the final sand, well, the 220 sand on the top. And then we're going to flip them, do the sand on the bottom, and then sand all the edges. And do our final roundovers and stoof. That's what we're making. What are you making? Making anything? Are you a maker? Are you not a maker? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand these real quick. Be right back. Thought I had heard thunder. All right. So now we're going to hang out for a minute so that I'm not boring you guys senseless till we sand the edges. Sausage tortellini soup. Hell yeah. Is that what I'm having for lunch on Monday? Or am I coming over to get lunch for tomorrow? I kind of like this format where I do a little work and we chat a little bit. And that way I'm not just straight up boring everybody. We might have to do this a little more. I mean, it's slow getting the stuff done, but I mean, 2.5 hours and we got our boards cut and almost completely sanded. So come over and get dinner if I want. Hell yeah. I might. I did pick up a bag of pizza rolls though. So I don't know. At a Busch Light. Excuse me. Yes, it is. But it is not the fucking Blaze Orange can that I've been looking for months. I'll be honest, I haven't even noticed. I didn't even know it was a thing a little while ago. Cheers, quiet. Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing a little while ago. I seen it on one of the cases and I was like, oh, snap. Who's cheer, Steph? I can't figure out what typo that would be. Kier. Okay, I got you. Never mind. I figured it out. I mean, he's looking pretty good if I do say so myself. Like, I don't generally, you know what? I don't mind making cutting boards once in a while. Got so bored I went to do dishes. Damn. Thanks, Papa. Appreciate it. I don't mind doing cutting boards once in a while. Or bulk cutting boards. But there for a while I was doing like one cutting board and then, you know, something else. And then I get an order for one more cutting board, you know, a few days later, and it was annoying. But then I started going, all right, well, you'll get your cutting board in, you know, 3 weeks when I batch out the cutting board orders or whatever, 2 weeks, depending on how many orders I have. And that made life more enjoyable. But now that I don't make them very often anymore, I do kind of enjoy. It's kind of like a going back to my roots thing. Little throwback to the old days. On in the background. Well, I appreciate that, Papa. Appreciate that. So, one of the reasons why I don't route last, I have to sand afterwards, is can you guys see that line right down that edge? That's from the bearing. And I'll also get marks from the base of the router. You gotta do some stuff. All right. Gotta sand that stuff off. It looks like garbage if you don't. I think it looks like garbage. I have very high standards sometimes. Sometimes I have very low standards. Yeah. Scroll and saw some of the boxes you made. Nice. Thank you. I still got my one box over here, my cherry and poplar one with the black walnut corners. I got a cedar box around here somewhere. I just seen it the other day. Oh, it's back there. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but excuse me, I'll probably use it to store random bits and bobs in, so it's not a cardboard box. And I made that hickory one for Crappy Man Jigs for a giveaway. That was a fun one. I think Michael got that one. Did Michael get that one? I don't remember who won that one. It was like a Christmas giveaway, I think, last year. How's my Terminator coming? Erwin, I didn't work on him last night. But I intend to work on him some tonight. It'll be a late night for me doing some programming. I'd like to have him terminating some stuff here soon. All right. I'm going to sand the edges on this one, and then I'm going to go rock out my roundovers, like softening up all the curves. And then we'll take another little break, and then I'll do the same on this one. All right? How's that sound? BRB. My shop vac is very plugged up with fine sawdust. So I'm going to knock some of this dust off. There we go. Is that a chopping board? Yes, sir, it is. I got a sister pair. How are you doing, Curtis? How are you doing? So, we softened that. Right? Gave it a nice little soften. We did not finish this corner yet. I'll do that after I do the other one. And we gave this a quick little go over. We'll do that afterwards. I'll put the pad on, little foam pad, to go over them better and do the corners. But that foam pad generally destroys the paper, so I want to make sure I get my flats done first. Destroys the paper when I do tight little things like this. Got a nice little round over going. And then I'll take that pad and I'll do this upper edge again. I'll go around this upper edge while I have that pad on, so that way it kind of conforms to it a little better. But we're going to take a little break, shoot the breeze, have a drink. What kind of projects you guys got going on this weekend? Anything that I need to put up on that TV while I'm working tomorrow? You know what? I just realized Abby and Chad are getting married in a year, right? I have a year. I should probably make them something. Right, Steph? Is it a year? Also, is my chat frozen? Or are you guys just super quiet? No, you guys are just super quiet. All right. I get it. I'll shut the fuck up. Just sand. I should probably make them something. I don't know what I would make them. I mean, I could make them a cutting board. Engrave the last name and established, 2026 or something. That's a little chintzy. Plus, I don't know that Abby would actually use a cutting board. Chad might. Chad might actually use a cutting board. I should think of something. All right, let's sand this edge. I'm losing vacuum again. I'm losing suction. Oh, I also wasn't even close. God dang, that's a lot of. Yep. It is what it is. We're almost done. Okay. Oh, I didn't go around this edge. There we go. Now I'll switch to the pad, and that'll help me get some of these roundovers nicer, smoother. What's up, Lloyd? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming over. I appreciate it. What did I do with my sanding pad? There it is. Found it. I feel like I've got 2 or 3 of these. Yeah, I've got a yellow one that's stiffer, I think, than the black one. I'll line up the holes. Oh, I guess it would probably help if I try to put it on the right side. Here we go. All done sanding. Hey, Sister Clara. Rose, how you doing? Appreciate you guys. Dave, what is a chopping block? Essentially a thicker cutting board. Right? We got substantial thickness here. It's a cutting board. I'm not saying you can't break it, but I've never had anybody do it. Whereas most cutting boards are really thin, kind of like this or thinner, right? We got significant thickness. Plus, instead of this is face grain right here, so we turn this stuff on edge. So we got edge grain all the way through the board. That's a chopping block. But that's it. The sanding is done for the most part. We may have to do little touch-ups on this space, depending on if it gets marked up when I set it up for the laser. And we may have to go over it on this space, depending on if the laser gets all sooty, right? Which on cherry, it usually doesn't. But there's always that chance. So if that happens, I'll just go over it with 220 real quick. And it'll be good. But the sides are done. The corners are done. The edges. Everything's nice and kind of smooth. There's no sharp, jabby bits. And that 45 is your handle. You pick it up however you want, however works best for you. Pick it up corner to corner if you want. I don't do the notching out chunks on the ends or on the sides. I don't do any of that nonsense. Never found a need for it. Never seen a use case for it. This seems like a bunch of wasted effort for me. So, there we go. The sanding is done. I do really like this. I just wish it didn't pull back together. So, like, that stuff pulls in real quick. And then starts dragging the backside of my sander down. But I think I figured out how to operate it. I just hold the hose up and hold the cable and sand, which is fine. A hell of a lot more dust free than it is when I'm not using the vacuum. I will have to figure out a different setup because that vacuum filter plugs up so fast. And the fine dust, I don't know if the fine dust would work in my little separator. I guess we can find out. But let's give you guys a look. Now that we're down to final sand is done. And I'm going to have a drink, shoot the breeze with you for a bit before I go inside, call her a night. And then I may or may not go live later on with having the laser set up. We'll see if I can... if I get it set up and running. But what we'll do is we'll spray these down so you guys can see the color difference and get an idea of what it'll look like. You know, for what we normally do around here. There's an approximation of how they'll look on a counter. I mean, it's drying really fast because I got a fan on, but I could probably turn that fan off, to be honest. approximation of how they'll look. I just spray with rubbing alcohol because it doesn't affect the wood. It doesn't actually like absorb in and change anything. It doesn't swell the wood and it dries really fast. But I think they'll look really nice. As soon as the Chaos Twins figure out what they want engraved on the bottom side, we'll get that taken care of for them. In the meantime, they're going to sit here on a couple of runners. So we help alleviate any warpage because they're final sanded now for the most part. They're not going through any more work. So we don't want them to warp at this point. That'd be rough. But they really shouldn't warp. Edge grain boards don't really warp that much. Well, thanks. Thanks, Decor. I guess it's Decor. Appreciate that. Now, tomorrow, I want to run the laser, get these two both engraved, start getting the finish on them, and get the flag case sanded and assembled. That's my goal for tomorrow. Hopefully that works out. I reckon we'll see. What I do want to see is, I kind of want to see how this looks. Well, I might have to hit that with some more 220. Yeah, a couple of little swirls in there, but it's drying too quick. I can't even show you guys. See if I can. A little window to inside the wood. There's a couple of air bubbles in it. That's okay. It'll look kind of like water with bubbles. But there we go. Two sister boards. Just waiting on Chaos Twins to figure out what they want. If they poke around too much, I'm just gonna have it say, or I'm gonna engrave the Chaos 1 and 2 on it. I have a Chaos Twins emblem that I made, but I can't use that on anything. It's a super secret thing. What do I like to engrave? Cherry. I don't mind engraving cherry. I don't do it by hand. I do it with a laser. So cherry engraves really well. Excuse me, like really well. So does cedar. Cedar engraves really well. Maple does engrave good. It engraves differently than the cherry and stuff. Doesn't quite get quite as dark. You got to change up some settings. Black walnut, I mean, you can get a nice dark engraving on black walnut, but it's already black or dark brown. Your contrast level is very low. There is a tag that I need to put on that flag case. Guys, don't let me forget that I need to put a tag on this flag case. Right in the bottom center. Anyway, I think that'll be it for me tonight. I see my online thing reset. It says I've only been live for an hour, so I know that's a lie. But we're gonna call it a productive day. We got this. This stuff is all ready for. Technically, I could put a finish on it now if I didn't want to do any engraving. I could put a finish on it now, but we are going to wait till tomorrow. And I think I'm going to call it a night and go make some dinner. All right. I appreciate you guys for coming in and hanging out with me tonight. We got 90, or today, got 90 likes in very short time. That's awesome. Super cool. They're pretty. Thanks, Wes. Appreciate that, buddy. I think they turned out nice. I do really like my design of cutting boards. So, but all right, guys, we'll catch some of you tomorrow, and the rest of you we'll catch around, I guess. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you later.